Hey, you YouTubers, Dark Samorg here, doing my Fabled deck profile for Trinity of Darkness. If you watched the Trinity of Darkness team introduction video, you saw Dark Neptius, or Melanie, doing her Naturia deck profile, and I just decided to put my Fabled deck on here as well. So, without further ado, let's just get started. And there will also be an in-depth explanation of perhaps a tad bit more complex cards. To start with, Gore is the Emissary of Darkness is a very useful card with 2700 attack and 2500 defense. And when you take damage from a card your opponent controls while you control no cards, you can special summon this card from your hand and then activate the appropriate effect depending on the type of damage. Most of the time you're probably going to summon him if you take battle damage, because then you can special summon an Emissary of Darkness token, which will have attack and defense equal to the amount of battle damage you took. If you special summon him from effect damage, you just inflict damage to your opponent equal to the amount of damage that you took. But still a very good card nonetheless. He is limited to 1, otherwise I'd probably run 2 of him actually. Next up is Caius the Shadow Monarch. I run 2 of him with 2400 over 1000 in stats, and when he's tribute summoned, you remove from play 1 card on the field, and if it was a dark monster card, you can inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Now, something that's pretty useful to do sometimes if they have really low life points is, if your opponent has really low life points, is that you can actually target Caius himself with the effect to guarantee 1000 points of damage to your opponent. Next up is 3 Reborn Tengus, 1700 4-star non-tuner. So you can synchro with him, and he's great to synchro with because when he's removed from the field, you can try to summon another Reborn Tengu straight from your deck. If you have one in the hand, and then you summon him, and try not to draw again until you can get the next one out, because the worst thing to do is to draw another Tengu while you still have one in the field. You don't want to, once you get the first Tengu in the field, you do not want to draw anymore. You just want to get them straight from the deck, because that way you can keep getting pluses off of him. But he's great to synchro with, and a great card to use. Next up is Fabled Grimro, 4-star, also 1700. She's light, however, and if you control a face-up Fabled monster, you can send this card to the from your hand to the graveyard to add a Fabled monster from your deck to the hand, except for her. So that means you can search for your tuners like Kribel or Chawa, or you can also search for Ganesha or Kushano in case you want to get them in, if you have a way to get them in the graveyard to start working off of their effects. But basically, you just search with her. She's also a very good target for Cruise. You pitch Cruise to the graveyard, fill summon Grimro back, and you have a 4-star that you can start synchroing with perhaps Chawa to get Rage in and get your +2 or anything like that. Next up is Snipe Hunter, 4-star, 1500 attack, Dark Fiend. His effect is great because you can discard a card to select one card in the field and then roll a 6-sided die. If the result is not 1 or 6, you get to destroy that selected card, including cards you control, in case you destroy something like that. And if anything, you can always select a Snipe Hunter himself and actually kill him with his own effects. But the great thing about Snipe Hunter is that you get to discard as a cost, and Fableds are broken because even when they're discarded as costs, they still get their effects. So he is a very good card because you get to destroy your opponent's monsters or spells and traps, or even your own cards, to discard monsters to the graveyard to get their effects and start working off of your other monsters and start synchroing, which is pretty much the main objective of this kind of deck. Next up is 3 Fabled Ganesha. He is a 3-star non-tuner beast with 1600 attack and 1000 defense, and when he is discarded to the graveyard, you special summon him back to the field, and when you special summon this way, he gains 200 attack and is removed from play when he is removed from the field. So you discard him, he comes back as an 1800 beater. You can either start attacking with him or you can synchro with him. He'll be removed from play thereafter, but he's still a great card. Definitely a great card. If you're starting to take some damage or you need to defend your field, I'm also running 2 Spirit Reapers. I'm running Spirit Reapers instead of Marsh Balloons because even though he can't be destroyed by battle, If he's specifically designated as the target of a magic trap or effect monster card, he's immediately destroyed. Now, you may think that's kind of bad, but actually, if your opponent wants to grab him with mind control and try to synchro with him, they can't, and Spirit Reaper just, kills himself, so they can't get any good monsters using your card. They can't, do anything. They can't even use Soul Exchange to try to tribute your monster, because if they target Spirit Reaper with Soul Exchange, he pops, and then, they get to do nothing with that. Next up is 2 Fabled Kushanos. He's a 3-star tuner. And when he's in the graveyard, you can discard a Fabled monster to the graveyard, except Kushano, to add him back to your hand. Now, you do that with your other Fabled monsters that have discard to the graveyard effects, so you can easily get, say, the Elephant, Ganesha. You can discard him to the graveyard, add Kushano to the hand, then normal summon Kushano, and there you have a 6-star Synchro right there. If Goya Guardian was still unbanned, that would be a very broken combination, but unfortunately he's not. But it's a great way to go into Bryanok, which has a very good discard effect. Next up are 3 the Fabled Kuribel, 2-star tuner, and basically when he's discarded to the graveyard, you just get to special summon him. He's an easy plus. He's an easy tuner to synchro with. 2 stars are very easy to synchro with. Going with Caius into any 8-star, go with your 4 stars into 6s. He's very easy to combo with. Next up is Fabled Cruise, 2-star non-tuner, and when she's discarded to the graveyard, you can select one level 4 lower Fabled monster in your graveyard, except for her, or actually except for the card that was discarded. You can actually supposed to summon another Cruise with her if the Cruise is already in the graveyard. And supposed to summon it, which means you can basically just discard her, get any Fabled monster you want out of the graveyard that's level 4 and lower, and supposed to summon it, and just keep going with whatever you're trying to do. But she basically supposed to summon any Fabled monsters that you need that are level 4 and lower out of your graveyard. And next up, probably probably in my opinion, the best Fabled tuner, Fabled Chawa. During your main phase, you can discard one Fabled monster, and special summon this card from your hand. Basically, by using his effect, you get to special summon him, and you also get to discard any Fabled monster from your hand to the graveyard. Now that means you can pitch a Kushano to the graveyard, and then you can also discard another card to add him back to the hand. Basically, Chawa gets your whole combos going and special summons himself. He is a great card and should always be run at 3. And we have another use for him in the next section, which is spells. Against matchups with Dark Worlds, people would say this is a bad card, but Dark Worlds are very inconsistent by themselves. And if you need to, you can always side it out. But personally, I love running 3 of these. 3 Dark World dealings, you draw 1 card, each player just draws 1 card, and then each player discards 1 card. That's basically it. I mean, sometimes you can even top deck this with no cards in the hand and draw a card that you actually need, and then discard it, and then it comes back to the field anyway. I've top decked a Ganesha with this card and special summoned it with 18 and attack for game. So I mean, this card can actually clutch very well with this deck and get you wins from nowhere. Very good card to run. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, just destroy one spell and trap in the field. Just get rid of your opponent's back row, keep them from stopping you. Along with Heavy Storm, destroy all spells and traps on the field. Obviously very good for that. Card destruction, both players discard their entire hands and draw the same number of cards that they discarded from the respective decks. Obviously, you just discarded your whole hand. You have a whole lot of monsters that run with discard effects. This is obviously an awesome card to use. You discard, Cruz and Chawa, Cruz, Kushanu, Kuribel, and Ganesha, and all of a sudden you're going to have, a field of like 4 monsters, and you can just start synchroing with all of them right there. It's a great card, not to mention you obviously replenish your hand too. Very good card. Next up, Dark Hole, destroy monsters on the field. That's, very redundant. Destroy all monsters in the field. There you go. 1 for 1, send 1 monster card from your hand to the graveyard, then special summon 1 level 1 monster from your hand or deck. Obviously, it doesn't say discard, so you don't get to benefit off of that, but you can pitch Kushano to the graveyard with this card, and then special summon a Chawa, and then you can go into your combos using the Kushano that's now in the graveyard. So it's an easy way to get him in there without using, say, Foolish Burial, because this gets you more of a plus by getting your tuner on the field. Mind control, take control of one of your opponent's monsters until the end phase, and it can't declare an attack or retributed. Doesn't matter, because you're not going to use it for that. You're going to synchro with it. You're going to use your tuner and use their monster, synchro with an open field, and attack for damage. That's all that's really used for. Scapegoats, you can't summon any of the monsters this turn, but you can always, it's a quick play spell, so you can activate it during your opponent's turn, get 4 free monsters on the field, all 1-stars, and then, even if they kill, say, 2 of them, you still have 2 1-star monsters on the field that you can then synchro with on your next turn. Monster Reborn, select 1 monster in either player's graveyard, so to summon it in face of attack or defense. Obviously a great card, that's why it's limited to 1, but basically just get any monster you need from the graveyard. Book of Moon, slap 1 face-up monster on the field, flipping the face down defense, helps you avoid those troublesome mirror forces, and anything that affects face-up cards like Lightning Vortex. And can also be used as an emergency defense against your opponent's attacking monster. Flip their monster face down, no damage for them. And Pot of Avarice. Select 5 monster cards in your graveyard, then add them to your deck and shuffle it, then draw 2 cards. Very good card for getting for recycling your Tengus once you use all 3 of them. Get them right back in the deck, and you start all over again, along with maybe a Chawa and a Crew, so you can use them again as well. Very good cards. And last but not least is the Traps Mirror Force. When your opponent declares an attack, destroy all attack position monsters your opponent controls. Great card. And to troll your opponent, we are just going to run 3 Jar of Greeds. It's pretty funny to see them waste their Heavy Storms on these. Actually, I've had all 3 set, and they drop a Heavy Storm thinking, oh my god, there's so much crap here, what could possibly be here? There's obviously a Solemn Warning here, and there's obviously a Bottomless over here, and a Deep Prisoner Mirror Force over here. This is all so bad. And then they have their own back row set, which is actually good cards. They drop Heavy Storm, and you're just like, chain, chain, chain. Draw 3 cards, and they just lost like a bunch of crap they wanted. So obviously a very fun card to run. This deck has proven to be very consistent against pretty much all decks. Not very consistent against dragons, or a dragon deck in my local meta that is kind of a problem to get over in terms of attack, mostly because of 5-headed D, but there are ways to work around that. It's a great deck, and if you need any advice on how to run it, or any advice on changes, message me and I will help you out in any way I can. And if you have any advice or comments about my build, definitely post comments or message me about them, and we will be able to talk about that. So thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.